Hello, welcome to Authentically Aligned, a space where growth is rooted in safety, reconnection happens through our nervous system, and we return home to ourselves. Today's episode is about the things that we miss or take for granted inside of seasons of waiting. Because most people aren't missing out on life because nothing good is happening. But they're missing their life because they're waiting for something bigger to happen before allowing themselves to feel it. The problem isn't your life. The problem is what you think is worth celebrating. What is worthy of your celebration? What is cause for celebration? We've been conditioned to believe that life becomes worth celebrating when we reach something or have an achievement, whether that be a relationship, a job, the success, the milestone, becoming the version of ourselves that we've been waiting to become and working to become. But what happens in the meantime? What happens in the in-between? What happens when you're actually every single day working toward these things? Because the reality is that good things, great things are happening every single day through the process while moving to the next milestone or moving to the next goal or the next point. We have to stop delaying joy until your life looks a certain way, until your life looks the way that you want it to. And recognize that you are allowed to be happy. You are allowed to experience joy and fulfillment while you're figuring things out, while you're evolving, while things are changing, and while you are growing. Most people are living in the pattern of it will feel good when, or I will be happy when, I'll relax when, things will be better when. But what happens when you're always waiting for the when? When you are anticipating that every day is going to be better than the next, rather than living in the present day and showing gratitude and joy and feeling the abundance of each and every single day. Yes, absolutely. Things feel better or easier, or it's easier to celebrate when things are clear, when you feel relaxed, when you feel steady, and when everything makes sense. But the reality is that life is always going to be in a state of becoming. Tomorrow is always going to be there. The next best thing, the thing that we're waiting for, working for, hoping for, praying for, is always going to be there. And if we are not careful and we are not mindful and we are not aware, we are going to waste our lives away chasing what's to come rather than living in and enjoying what is. We have been accustomed to having this sense of destination addiction, where our focus and our energy and everything that we are is going more into the destination and the potential and what could be and what will be, rather than allowing ourselves the time and the space and the energy to exist and to enjoy. And if we attach our happiness to the arrival, you will spend your life, your entire life, waiting, hoping, wishing. It has become so common and so customary, us as humans in this generation, we achieve whatever it is that we have been wanting, praying for, desiring, hoping for. The house, the car, the job, the relationship, whatever it might be. And the second that we allow ourselves to step into whatever this new season is, whatever it was that we've been working and hoping for, it is our natural instinct to now instantly say, what's next? I want more. I want bigger. I want greater. I want better. But what does it look like for you to sit and celebrate inside of this season that you have worked your entire life for? And I will be honest, I have found myself in this place so often, and I have to pull myself back. I have to bring myself back to reality and back to a place of humility and understanding. And not only that, but bring myself back to a place of gratitude. We as humans have become so audacious. And I had a moment, I actually had several moments through this past week that were very much in alignment with this exact topic. But the specific moment that I had was a moment where I took myself for a walk. And I didn't take music. It was just me. I was just with my thoughts. And recently, I have been in a space where I have been so pressed to get to the next space, to get to all of these next milestones inside of my personal life, inside of my career, inside of my successes. I have been so pressed. And while I took this walk, I had a moment where I was in a space that I had once dreamed of, that was once just a thought, that was once just a prayer and a wish and a hope. And for me to be in this space, living in this space, and experiencing all of these things that I hoped to, I really had to bring myself down and pull myself off of this feeling of wanting more and desiring more, and pull myself into the present moment and recognize these are things that you worked so hard for and was once just a dream. And now that you have achieved these things, you really, truly have the audacity to want more and to almost forget about everything that it took for you to be in this moment. For you to forget to be grateful and thankful for this moment. Now, that doesn't mean that I stopped working toward and stopped praying for and dreaming of and hoping for these other things. But what it does mean is I had to sit back and enjoy this moment, because the reality is these moments you're never going to get back. And there will come a time and there will come a day that this exact moment will just be in the past. And there will come a time and a day that you will miss some of the moments that you're living right now. So why not live them to the fullest, cherish them to the fullest, and allow yourself to experience the fullness of your life exactly as it was intended to be experienced. So why do our minds and why do our brains fixate on what is wrong rather than what is right about our lives? This is a wiring. This is something that we were conditioned for. And this goes back even to the previous episode where we discussed survival mode and what that looks like, and why we have these mindsets that we do, and why we have these actions and behaviors that we do, because they once did help us to survive. And the wiring of thinking about what is wrong rather than what is right comes from living in survival mode. Our brains, our minds naturally scan for what is wrong, what could go wrong, what's missing. And all of these thoughts are not a wiring for fulfillment, but they're a wiring for survival. It is our mind's way of trying to protect us. But inside of these moments and these times where we have our guard up and we have our armor up, we are actually missing out on precious time that we will never get back. When we focus on lack, this creates tension, this creates stress, this creates anxiety. But when we focus on presence, we create safety, we create regulation, and we create peace. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is your choice. Whether you want to focus on lack or whether you want to be present in every moment, perfect or not. Because the reality is we may perceive the moment to be perfect. We may perceive the moment to not be perfect. But the moment is perfect regardless, because it's exactly what we are supposed to be experiencing in this period or in this season or in this moment. There's a difference between disappointment and experiencing disappointment and living in disappointment. Naturally, disappointment is part of being human. We will never live a life where we do not experience disappointment. But your choice is, are you going to live inside of that disappointment? And are you going to fixate on it? And are you going to give all of your energy to the disappointment? Or are you going to choose to see the positive inside of the disappointment, or all of the things that are going right simultaneously while you're experiencing this small sense of disappointment in one area of your life? We're not meant to live in disappointment, but we have created a conditioning and a wiring where experiencing and living in the disappointment has become easy. And now it's important for us to get out of that ease of disappointment and allow the ease to be focusing, cherishing, celebrating all of the positives, all of the things that are going right, all of the good things in our lives. Just the other day, I had a day that was full. It was a very full day. I was doing a lot of things and working on a lot of things. And I actually received a few different disappointments inside of things that I was doing for my business in different areas. a few different text messages, a few different emails that were disappointing. And for a moment, I sat in that disappointment. And then I had to bring myself out of it and take a moment to remind myself all of the other incredible, amazing things that are going right. And while I can be disappointed about this, what does it look like for me to focus on all of these positives and all of the things that are going well? And also gain understanding and gain perspective of the fact that these disappointments are actually blessings. And there's a reason that I was told no. There's a reason that this isn't working out the way that I wanted to. There's a reason for all of these things. And maybe this is going to push me into whatever is meant for me. And I had to sit and remind myself of that because I, in the past, am somebody who would have absolutely allowed this disappointment to not ruin my day, but I would hold on to this disappointment. And focusing on the positive things and focusing on everything that is going right has created so much more opportunity, so much more understanding, so much more peace, so much more alignment inside of my life. And through that, I have experienced so much more opportunity, growth, clarity, and room for expansion. So at the end of the day, it is your choice. You can choose to feel the disappointment, process it, and then release it. Or you can choose to experience the disappointment, hold on to it, and continuously create this cycle of unhappiness. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. You choose the things that you hold on to, and you choose the things that you let go of. The things that you repeatedly return to mentally become your emotional baseline. What is your emotional baseline? What is your emotional foundation? Is it hope, understanding, and peace? Or is it fear, worry, disappointment, and anxiety? What foundation are you creating for your mental health, for your emotional health, for your spiritual health? Unfortunately, we have been taught and conditioned to celebrate the outcome. We have been taught to celebrate the job promotion, the purchasing of a house, the title of a relationship, the milestone. But what we haven't been conditioned or taught to celebrate is the process, the showing up, the growth, the healing, the consistency that it takes to achieve these milestones. And when we choose to wake up every single day and celebrate the little wins, the little victories, the little growth, we allow ourselves to continuously celebrate ourselves, continuously find proud moments, continuously find exciting moments, rather than waiting for a huge milestone as a cause for celebration. We've learned that life isn't worth celebrating until it looks a certain way. But what if you were to reframe that and recognize that life is worth celebrating because you woke up another day? Life is worth celebrating because you have the opportunity to, and you get to live through the challenges of another day. You get to grow and evolve and expand through these challenges. And each day is a new opportunity to become the greater, better version of yourself. Waiting for the victory will cost you because you miss the in between. You miss the becoming. You miss the showing up for yourself. You miss everything that it takes in order for you to step into the achievement, the milestone. And through that, you reinforce what you are in this moment is not enough. This is your way of keeping yourself stuck in the old wiring. And because of this, that feeling doesn't go away when you get the one thing that you're looking for. Because you have conditioned your mind to believe that you are not enough, or where you are is not enough. And you always need to have more and do more and be more in order to and you create this never-ending cycle and loop where you're constantly chasing the what's next for the rest of your life, rather than celebrating the what is. If your mind isn't trained to see the good now, it's not going to suddenly start when you get to your destination. Train your mind to see the good in every single moment, or your mind is always going to be disappointed. Life is meant to be celebrated. We are not supposed to just celebrate the outcome. Life is the outcome. Life is the celebration. And the sooner that we realize this, the sooner that we are destined for a great life. But the longer that it takes for us to realize this, the longer we get stuck in these cycles and the less we allow ourselves to live our lives to its fullest. It's not only about the outcome. It's about the walk. It's about the conversation, the quiet moment, and the growth that you have yet to see. You don't arrive at a life that's worth celebrating. You create it by how you choose to experience your life. If you don't allow joy along the way, you are never going to experience joy at the end, at the achievement, at the outcome. So how do we stop delaying the experience of joy? The number one thing that we have to do is notice the pattern. When you catch yourself saying or thinking, I'll feel better when, I'll be happy when, things will get better when you find yourself in this state of mind or in this state of being, catch yourself and then practice regulation inside of your body. You cannot access joy in survival mode. So how do you re-regulate? How do you ground yourself? How do you slow yourself down? How do you bring yourself back to your breath, your presence, and your being? And then expand your awareness. Expand your understanding. Expand your connection to your experiences. Ask yourself, what is working right now? What supported me today? What are the things that I feel good about in this moment? What are the things that I can celebrate right now? Allow yourself joy without needing permission, without needing a reason. Your life does not have to be perfect in order to feel the good inside of it. Your life will never be perfect until you allow yourself to experience the joy, the fulfillment, the happiness in the imperfect moments. You can feel peace while things are uncertain. You can feel joy when things are unfolding. But these are choices that you have to make every single day. Your life does not become something when everything falls into place. Your life becomes something when you choose gratitude and you choose presence. Your life is happening in the moments that you continue to overlook. And you are allowed to feel good in every single moment, even while you're figuring things out. As always, I am going to leave you with a journal prompt for the week. What in my life right now is already worth appreciating, but I have been overlooking? Where are you showing up that you haven't acknowledged? What are the things that feel aligned? And what would it shift if I allowed these things importance? The goal isn't to change your life overnight. It's to start seeing the good in it while you're living it. If this episode resonated, I would love for you to share it. It helps us to share this space. And as you move through your week this week, notice where you're waiting. Waiting to feel good, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel happy. I am sending you so much love and light this week. Have a beautiful week.